So thank you everybody for being here. And what I'm going to try and do is tell you a little bit about the power of the crowd and maybe some points of shared economy that relates to Moovit. So as you all know, there are about almost 8 billion people around the world and only 900 million cars, which represent the ratio between people who are driving cars and the others who use other means of transportation. And transit is a big part of our lives. You know, that's based on our users' statistics. It really depends on the size of the city and how complicated the transportation system is. And if you ask people what's the biggest problem they have, people who use public transit, it's lack of accurate information. There are too many moving parts there. So what we are doing at Moovit is we are taking information from multiple sources, starting from authorities, Ministry of Transport, schedule information, operators that give us GPS information of the buses and trains, but most importantly, we take a lot of data from the crowd, people who are using public transit on a daily basis. We combine all these pieces of information and we are creating a tool that allows people to plan their trip, which is a completely multimodal trip. And then we provide real-time data information, alerts, and a lot of other mobility options, as you will see. When we started, it was all about public transit. How do I connect between buses, trains, subways? But as we move forward, we figured out that we can add way more means of transportation, way more options to people. So if you look at your right-hand side, Moovit is not just about public transit anymore. We combine options of on-demand rides like taxi into our trip. It can be the first mile, last mile option. And just recently, 3 months ago, we started to operate an experimental ride-sharing system, or people call it carpool, but it's actually based on people who commute to work and want to share the cost of ride with others. So Moovit started about 3.5 years ago. Since then, we have more than 40 million users registered on our system. We provide service in more than 1,000 cities around the world, in 65 countries, in 43 different languages. The only way to really compare coverage is to show how many bus stops and train stations we have, and we have about now it's almost 5 million bus stops and train stations in our service. We provide data of about 4,500 operators around the world. VBB here, Berlin-Brandenburg, is just one of these operators. And we collect between 100 and 200 million data points a day from our users into our repository. The slide that I'm most proud of is this one. Moovit adds a city or a service in a new city every 18 hours. And in the next year, when I'm going to be here, it's going to be less than 12 hours. So we add a new city every 18 hours, and the question is, how do we do that? We only have 90 people in our company. The answer is clear. The power of the crowd. So we allowed our users to volunteer and help us build the public transit data layer in their own city. People who live in Berlin think that the world is completely covered, the data is available, but the answer is so far away from this assumption. Not even 40% of the world's city public transit data is covered or mapped. Moovit is by far the largest repository of public transit data around the world. And today we're doing it because we have more than 60,000 editors, who are people that volunteered around the world to help us build the data. In our pipeline, we have about 2,000 projects, means that 2,000 more cities are going to be added to our service in the next 18 months. Just to give you perspective, I mean, out of the 40 million users, about 1 million people actively volunteered to help us, but only 65,000 out of them were qualified to become editors. It's a very Darwinistic process. If they can't go through our tutorial, they just can't do that. So this is how fast our users or our editors community grew from 2013 when we started. And because of that fact that we are the largest repository and we have the most reliable and most accurate data and the biggest coverage around the world, we were chosen to be the official app for the Rio Olympic over all the other map players that you are familiar with around the world, which some of them are giants. And they actually use our data on kiosks in Rio de Janeiro now. And we are also being selected to become the official app for the UEFA 2016, which is happening in France. So when I get to the end of my presentation, I want to give you a little bit of a taste of what it means to really approach the world of mobility from the demand side, not from the supply side. So most of the companies that you will see here, including the presenter that comes after me, will show you the supply side of the world of on-demand mobility. However, when you approach this world from the demand side, people who wake up in the morning, plan to take public transit to work, and then we offer them alternative of ride sharing. So see what happened. Today we are offering taxi as an alternative. We partner with Uber and we have Uber option in more than 100 cities. We work with Easy Taxi and Get. But when the price goes down from the taxi price about 80 or 70% to the price of ride sharing, the conversion of public transit users to these services is going up 30 times. So it's 30x more conversion, and it's all about price point. So I'm going to end up saying that what you see here as huge changes in the world of mobility, on-demand mobility and transit, we are about to see these changes happening in many different ways. Some of them are very unexpected that relates to shared economy as well. So I want to thank you all, everybody, for listening to my speech about Moovit. I hope you download the app and use it every day. Thank you very much.